Strong family foundations is also possible when each and every family member is allowed to be who they are. When they have a clarity on who they are and they're living a life in alignment with who they are. Sometimes it can be completely out of the culture of the family or what the lineage has been doing. But if one wants to hold the family together, sometimes one needs to adapt with the changing times as well. But these are the things that, as a value system, really holds the family together. What holds a group of people together is a sense of shared values and deep trust. So when the value system is aligning of all of the family members, it is easier to create a sense of like a teamwork or a sense of group support and a group rapport. And eventually, when there is an understanding between all the family members without different people having to hide who they are, having to hide their behavior, hide their thoughts, if they can openly discuss these things while the other person in the family may not agree with it, but at least they listen to it, it also helps in creating a deeper trust between family members and deeper bonds. Strong family foundations is so important because, as they say, family is everything. Our life begins in a family. We are born into a family. And if this is one thing that is weak and shaky and wobbly and unclear, or even if it's too rigid as well, we will always find it difficult to establish and form a family. A lot of people these days are just seeking healing because of family issues. Whether it's issues with the parents, because the parents are trying to control the children, or it's issues with in-laws. In Indian culture, the daughter-in-law, once she gets married, there's a lot of time she needs to live with her husband's parents and the family members, and they don't get along, and she's asked to adapt to ways of the new family to fit in, and there's again a problem over there. Sometimes there's problems between the husband and the wife, Sometimes there's a problem between siblings. Sometimes there's a problem between, like a generational problem, where the grandfather, or the head of the family is holding too much control. And even though there are 2-3 more generations that are born, after that, they're not letting go of the control or of how the family business runs. There are so many family problems these days, and people don't know what to do. You cannot live without a family because it's a source of happiness, but also these problems really weigh everyone down and keeps on eating away into our positive energy. When it comes to family problems, I always recommend for the family to enroll in a family counseling and a family healing session, where it is so important to first of all understand the unique needs of each and every family member and what is causing their problems. We all hold different perspectives. We all come from different backgrounds. We all even have unique personality traits as well. So when I take on a family, I also enroll each of them in a self-discovery program where I first help them get clarity on who they are as individual people, what their strengths, weaknesses are, and also help them understand the bigger picture of what it takes to make a family run and how each person's habits and behaviors is affecting the person. Also, when it comes to the Indian culture, where a lot of times a daughter-in-law has to live with her husband and her parents, this is something that slowly, the culture is moving away from, that after marriage, the children get their own home. It is so important that right after marriage, the children start their own life in their own home rather than having to live with the parents, unless of course they want to live with the parents, that's a different story. But a daughter-in-law having to experience suppressing her voice because there's already a set of rules, a set of ways of living that are established in the family already. It is so demanding and so challenging for a woman to have to accommodate to the in-laws, the ways of her husband, ways of maybe other family members if they're living in the house, or if she's married into a different culture as well. Similarly, there are other ways, that even the head of the family needs to learn on how to let go of control, so that the younger people in the family can slowly be involved in more of the family business and the family affairs that are not progressing. And apart from, doing counseling services, I also offer healing services where we do family healing, which means that family as a group that has karma together, where they're not able to find common resolutions, find win-win outcomes to situations. With the family healing, I also help them heal the past karma together. So when then this new set of coaching and counseling that is done with them, they're more receptive to it. They know how to execute it in their daily life, and they have the support and the guidance, and also an open-mindedness to change their habits, behaviors, and as the society is progressing, that they're able to adapt to the ways of as the society is progressing and inculcate these new patterns in their life to create win-win situations for each of the family member. After working with me, one of my clients felt more healed and rooted in her family dynamics. She was earlier struggling to find her voice, find her sense of identity within different family members. But later on, as she understood herself, who she is, what her levels of talents are, what is her capabilities, how much energy does she have, what are her goals in life, does she have the wisdom, does she want to do the hard work to achieve those goals? It was easier for her to first get clarity on herself and also understand how the family dynamics work in the bigger scheme, in the bigger picture of things. And she was able to heal and root herself in her family life and also establish a healthy routine for herself on a daily basis and also a weekly basis on how she can interact, engage, and create bonds with each family member in different ways, and what sort of expectations she should even have from each of the family members and what she should not have. She learned how to set boundaries and vocalize her thoughts with each of the family members, which even allowed other family members to understand her better. I think it is so important to nurture our family relationships, to heal healed and rooted in our personal life. When we nurture our family relationships, we feel a sense of love and emotional connection that eventually makes us feel grounded. We know there is something that we belong to. We know that there's a group of people that we can call our own, And when we nurture these relationships through different gestures, by being with each other on their important milestones, or offering our help when they really need it, for what they need it, these simple things are ways that we are nurturing our relationships with our family members, which further gives us a stronger sense of connection and love, which makes us feel healed and rooted and grounded and anchored and safe. For healing in-laws dynamics and strengthening family roots, one of the most important things is that you tend to problems much before they even start, rather than when they get serious, and that's when you do something about it. So for example, I always say that it is so important that the newly married couple gets their own home and their own space even before they get married, so that instead of after 2 years or 5 years of getting married. Some of the other things is also having clarity from the beginning on the roles that each of the person will play in the relationship. If a woman wants to work after marriage or she wants to be a housewife, these things should be clarified much beforehand she gets into the relationship. Some of the other techniques is that doing a family healing, so a group healing of the family karma together, because we have all chosen the family that we have chosen because we have past karma with them. In-laws dynamics ease out a lot more when there are boundaries in place, which means that something that you don't eat, something that you don't wear, something that is not part of your lifestyle, you set boundaries in place in an assertive way without insulting the other person or without getting aggressive, and telling the other person how important it is for you that those boundaries are exercised, because that's who you are and that's how you've been living your life for the last 25, 30, 40, 45 years, no matter what your age is.